Hi everybody, it's Kristin and I have another 4 Looks 1 palette for you guys today. If you are new to 4 Looks 1 palette, first of all, welcome. Second of all, I have over 50 of these now. I will list a playlist below if you want to check out and see if one of your favorite palettes is one that I have done a 4 Looks 1 palette on, and if it's not, let me know and we'll see what I can do about it. I make no promises. I'm starting today, I'm going to be doing the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette, and after this one I will probably do the Jaclyn Hill palette, so you can just be aware it's on my list. You don't have to let me know that you want that one because I am well aware. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Today I went for drama right off the bat. If you haven't seen one of these before, you don't generally know, but if you are an avid watcher of these, I generally go, you know, neutral, the first look, and then I kind of work up to a bam, fourth look. I don't know, I just went all in today. So I used Peach Sangria right here all over the lid. And I did that on a MAC 239, so I won't grab that brush out because you guys have all seen that one a million times. But then I grabbed for my Sigma E36, which is just a really, there's just something about this brush that does a nice job of laying down product and blending it. I've never found another one exactly like it. I have a Goss brush that's very close, but anyway. So I used Peach Punch, which is this shade right here, on the outer 2/3 of the crease, blending up, and then on the inner sort of 2/3, and then on the edge again of that Peach Punch, I used Just Peachy, which is this shade right here. And you'll be able to see that a little bit better when I go ahead and zoom in. So then I grabbed a pencil brush, and I took those same shades, that Peach Punch and the Peach Sangria, beneath my lower lash line, and then up right along my lash line where I had I lined my inner rim with a black liner. I took a Beauty Junkie Pro Definer brush, so it's just one of these sort of push liner brushes, and I used chocolate dipped right along that edge just to really add some kind of, you know, a little more deepness. I didn't like it with just the black liner. It felt like it needed just a little bit more. On my upper lash line, I lined it with a black liner and then smudged it out with this chocolate dipped as well. And then I used Peach Meringue on my brow bone and on my edges to clean up. And I think that's everything. So let me zoom you in. Okay, so here's the look. The liner that I used today is the Julep Gel Eye Glider in Blackest Black. It's a nice one, it just doesn't last super long. For blush today, I wanted something kind of pretty neutral because I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do with the lips either, and I applied my blush first. So I went with Warm Soul by MAC. And then on my lips, I went through a couple of different options and ended up really kind of wanting to pull some of the brightness, you know, from this Peach Sangria. And so I used MAC Rebel. And that's the look. Okay, for my second look, I tried to keep the inner corner of really kind of lighter and a little bit brighter sort of look. So I went in with a MAC 239 and I used the shade in Peach Butter all over my lid. Then I went with a 217 and I used the shade Just Ripe. Make sure I'm pointing the right one, this one right here, on the outer corner, and I blended that in, just really kind of dissipating almost to nothing on that inner corner. And then I pulled a couple brushes that I haven't used in a while. These are the Luxie brushes. I got these in one of my BoxyCharms, and I do really enjoy these. This is the 237. It's very similar to the E36 from Sigma. I took the shade Fresh Picked on the edge of that Just Ripe and really blended the edges together and then brought that up just a little bit. So then I wanted to build up that Just Ripe a little bit, so I went in again with the MAC 236 and just laid a little bit more down on that outer edge. So I felt like I didn't have quite enough. And then I used this little brush again on the Fresh Picked on the edge of that right here. And you'll see when I zoom you in. And then to deepen things up, I used the other brush in that set, which is just a little bit bigger. And it's the Luxie 229. And I went in with the shade Peach Tart right here, just to kind of blend, just to kind of add a little more dimension. I wasn't really trying to make it so you could see that color. I hesitate to say I was trying to make it muddy. We'll go with just blended with some dimension. That's what I was trying to accomplish. And then I just took a little bit more of that Just Ripe on the 217, which is this brush right here. And just really kind of all blended that in. Lastly, I used the bigger of the two Essence of Beauty duo, these crease brush duos. It's a little bit bigger. I went in with that with the Just Ripe beneath my lower lash line, which is this, and then I just deepened up the edge of it with Peach Tart there. And I think that's everything. I use Peach Meringue again to clean up. That's what I will use every single time. And for liner today, I used my Avon Super Shock in Blackberry, and I used that on my upper lash line and on my upper waterline. I think that's everything. So let me zoom you in. Okay, so here's the look. I do realize that seemed a little more involved than a look like this should be, but I just feel sometimes that just happens when I'm playing around with shadows and that sort of thing, and I really wanted a certain look, and so I kind of had to add that extra step of the brown with this, with this brush in order to get the look that I had in my head. So on the rest of my face today, I have the Chanel blush in Jersey for my blush, and then on my lips, I use I used the Janta Blue that came in the BoxyCharm in Spice all over my lips, and then over the top of that, I went in with the Tarte Lip Tartist in Got It. Okay, for my third look, I took a MAC 239, which is my favorite lay-down brush, and I used Peach Punch, and I went all over my lid, inner corner to outer corner, all over, and then I just kind of blended out the edge with the same brush. And then I went in with a MAC 286, which is a fluffy, this is a duo fiber brush from MAC, and I went in with the shade Peach Tea right here and just blended out, blended out the edge, placed that in the crease. Then I took this Essence crease brush. This is again the one I think I used yesterday, and I went into Chocolate Dipped, and I really placed that. I'm going to look here in the mirror, pretty precisely. I wanted to keep it just kind of in this sort of half moon area out here, kind of like a V, but a little softer than a V. And I placed it, then I wiped that brush off, and I used it to blend. There's definitely some give to this brush, you can see, that is helpful for blending. And again, then I wiped off the brush, and I went in with Peach Cobbler, which is the shade right here. And I went right in between the line on the dark brown and then that cooler brown. I wanted kind of the contrast between this shade here is a little bit cooler than this shade here, obviously. So I just kind of wanted a little bit of that contrast. Beneath my lower lash line, I went in with Peach Tart, same brush, beneath my lower lash line. And then I went in with a little detail brush like this. This is the one from Royal and Lang Nickle. It's a BOM 18. And I went into that chocolate dipped right on the very edge of my lash line. I have to look in the viewfinder sometimes so that I don't poke myself in the eyeball. So right on the very edge of that, and then I switched out for this and just kind of blended it. I just wanted that darkness in the outer corner. I think that's everything except, of course, I used Peach Meringue again to blend my upper brow bone and clean up on the edges. And I think that's everything. So let me zoom you in. Okay, so here's the look. So I just lined my upper waterline, and I used the Rimmel Exaggerate. This is the retractable one in Rich Brown, just on my upper waterline. On my cheeks today, I used the Makeup Forever blush in shade number 22. And then I went just, to give a little glow, I went into the Becca Holiday palette, and I used the shade in Rose Quartz right here. Just kind of, you can see where I put that. And then on my lips, I used the Becca Lip Balm, and this one is in the shade Ginger Vanilla. All right, fourth look. What I did first was I took the Tarte Skinny Smolder Eyes, and this is in Moonstone Brown, and I did kind of a thick line on my upper lash line and then smudged that out. And then I went over the top of that and my whole lid first with Just Ripe. And then right at that sort of lash line area, I went in with, Just Ripe I did again with a MAC 239. And then I used the same brush that I had shown earlier this week for smudging. This is the Royal and Lang Nickle BOM 18 detail brush. And I smudged that with the liner, and then I used that with the chocolate dip as well. And then in the crease, I used Fresh Picked. I kind of was doing sort of an ombre-ish up eye. And then on top of Fresh Picked, I used Peaches and Cream. And then, of course, I used, what is that shade? You think I'd know by now. Peach Meringue for my upper brow bone and outer corner. Beneath my lower lash line, I used a combination of Just Ripe and then that chocolate dipped. So I think that's everything. I did line my upper waterline and lower waterline with the Moonstone Brown from Tarte as well. And then the brush that I used in the crease was this Quo brush. It's one of my favorites. It's just a Quo crease brush. You can only get these in Canada. That's the shade that I used for both of the crease colors. And then I used the same Essence for my lower lash line. And I think that that's everything. So let me zoom you in. Okay, so here's the look. On the rest of my face today, I used the, this is not it. I used the Blush and Mood Exposure by Hourglass. And then on my lips, I used MAC Lip Liner in Spice, which you guys have all seen probably a bajillion times. My lipstick is MAC Kinda Sexy, which looks like that. And this is a product actually that has grown on me over time. I didn't like it originally, and I've really come to enjoy it. And then my lip topper is the Skinny Dip from Jouer. So I'm gonna go ahead and get you some swatches. So top row is Peach Meringue, Peach Tea, Peach Cobbler, and Peach Tart. So Peach Meringue, Peach Tea, Peach Cobbler, and Peach Tart. And then this is Peach Butter, Just Peachy, Peach Punch, and Just Ripe. So Peach Butter, Just Peachy, Peach Punch, and Just Ripe. Peaches and Cream, Fresh Picked, Peach Sangria, and Chocolate Dipped. Peaches and Cream, Fresh Picked, Peach Sangria, and Chocolate Dipped. Alright, so let's have a little rundown of the palette. You can get this palette at Sephora, and I believe at Too Faced site directly, I'm sure. It is a Sephora exclusive though. It's not sold, to my knowledge anyway, unless that's changed, at Ulta. It sells for $45, and there are, as you can see, 12 shadows, and they are all matte, as the name would imply. So the first thing I want to say is I feel like these do apply better to the eyes than they swatch. So if you look at the swatch and you think, but then you look at how my eye looks were throughout the week, you'll see that they definitely apply better on the eye than they swatch. Yesterday is the day I'm fairly certain I wore Peach Punch on my lid, and that didn't swatch as nicely, but on the eye, I didn't have to work at that at all. I put on my brush, I put it on my eye, and it showed up very well. I really like the mattes, and I want to say this. Let me grab my crease brush here. So one thing that I can say about these, that like I love a Lorac matte, but we all know Lorac matte shadows are, you know, powdery as all get out. When you put your crease brush in there, it doesn't kick up a lot of power. A lot of powder. And I don't know, and you can see that definitely picked up product, so I just put it on my hand. So I'm not trying to, this was not sent to me, by the way. This is my own 2 cents when I literally spent my own 2 cents. Actually $45. So quality-wise, they're all very nice. I don't have any issues with this. My issue is just that I like a little shimmer. I don't need a ton of shimmer all over my eyeballs, but I do really like to have some shimmer on my lid. I don't think that there's an age in which you should stop wearing shimmer. There seems to be some opinions on that, but I just feel like this is a great palette. If you have a couple of shades, maybe I would want to add in some shimmer shades. So if I traveled with this, I would maybe grab like Ice Latte, or I don't know, something like one of the Infallibles. Amber Rush would probably be beautiful to combine with this. So I like this. I don't dislike it. I do really like it. I felt like I struggled a little bit to try to come up with 4 different looks. It's the same sort of feel I had with the Urban Decay Naked Heat, the Urban Decay Naked 3, where it's all rose or all warm tones, that sort of thing. I just feel like I like a little bit more variety. I do, however, really enjoy that this has a really nice shade for brow bone and cleaning up. You know, the older I get, the more important I really find that shade to be. And I love a palette that always has a nice dark brown in it as well. So quality is good. I feel like price point is fairly good. I just feel like I need a little bit more something to it. You know what I'm saying? But there are people out there who love only mattes. And if you don't have these kind of shades in your collection and you wear a lot of mattes, I don't think you would be disappointed with this. So that's sort of my final verdict on that. Let me tell you quickly what I was wearing on the rest of my face throughout the video. For primer this week, I used the Eve Pearl Priming Moisturizing Treatment. For foundation, I used the Chanel Le Beige, and I am in the shade 20. This is the one I'm currently working through. You can see I'm down to about here on that. For concealer, I think maybe day 1 I used the MAC Pro Longwear kind of by accident. I'm kind of trying to play with this one just a little bit more. But the rest of the days I wore the Born This Way, and I'm in the shade, I believe, Fair. And nope, it's light. I think it's, I'll list it below. It doesn't have a thing on it, or I would tell you. And then I use my Loose Minerals, my Double Wear Mineral Rich Loose Powder Makeup over the top of everything. For my bronzer this time, I was wearing the Bare Minerals bronzer in Fair to Light, the Invisible Bronzer. For under my eyes, I wore the By Terry Hydra Powder, as usual. And then to prime my eyes every single day, I use Urban Decay Primer Potion down first. I then use MAC Painterly Paint Pot over the top of that. And then the shadow I'm currently using, after I do that, I always will put a shadow over it just to ease in blending. This is the Essence shadow, and I think Vanilla Sugar. It's kind of worn off, but that's just what I'm using currently up as my all over get you started sort of shade. So I think that that's everything. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions or anything, go ahead and leave them below for me. And I think that's it. So thanks again for watching. I hope you're having a great day. And in everything that you do, be beautiful. Bye.